Hey guys, EST here, back with another great video. This time we're doing another dry run. So this is something I'd recommend you guys try. And these are 100% unscripted, super real. I did not try this earlier before shooting. And we've got a Sterno folding stove. You can get these, they still sell, I think this exact one. As I cover it, it was $4.79 originally at the hardware store, probably similar to that. I mean, this looks like it's a billion years old, but I got it for $1 at a garage sale, or as we call it in Wisconsin, a rummage sale. But it says only use 7-ounce Sternos, probably wick style. So we do have the Gordon's, which is not Sterno brand, but whatever. Chafer fuel, wick style. A little bit slower, a little bit lower thermal output. But what we're going to start with is a super high heat output 2-hour methanol gel chafer from Choice, which I would recommend. These things, if you buy them online in bulk instead of locally in stores, are under $1 a piece. And I looked it up. Their spec sheet is really nice, very scientific, full breakdown of all the specs. The amount of BTUs they measured it in per hour converts to about 410 to 430 watts. So that's a lot, but then I got to thinking, since I put this thing on top of my burner on my stove, because, you know, it can obviously handle the heat, I wonder what those burners are as far as wattage. And I could look it up, but I just, I want to see if this will work, Let's just learn by trying it. I don't know what kind of wattage it pulls, but this is designed for one and only one. In fact, it's not even designed for Kansas size because these clips are a little bit too wide, which is going to be a problem. So, I don't know. Oh, no, you're supposed to put them right there. I get it. Okay, can you tell this is unscripted and I haven't done this before? So we're going to start with this one because it felt to me like it had a higher thermal output just putting my hand above it. It looked like it was like double or triple what the other one was. They both weigh about the same, but this one burns out 3 times faster, so it does make sense. I really have my doubts about the wick style one, but we'll try that after if this one even works. I just wanted the highest chance of it working. So my theory is you would want the thinnest, lightest pan that you can possibly come up with, because you don't want the metal, oh, there we go, you don't want the metal soaking up all of the heat and dissipating it like a heat sink with more surface area, because then you've got, higher thermal capacity, like on this, because it weighs a bit, and you've also got a higher surface area to dissipate it into the air. And metal has a very high thermal conductivity, so if anything, you'd want like a cheap, crappy aluminum, portable camping style pan. They're not the most durable thing. They warp, okay, whatever. They get dirty, they're hard to clean, they're not anti-stick, but they do cook food. Now that said, I don't currently have one, so we're using this one. Just your average, what is this? It's, Tefal, yeah, so everybody has these. Alright, let's let it up. There we go. By the way, if you don't have one of these, oh my gosh, buy one, they're amazing. So the camera's picking it up. The bluer the flame, the cleaner it is. If you see yellow, that means carbon monoxide is potentially being created. So these are meant for, indoor safety on like large, indoor events, some kind of thing where you're holding like a dinner. Oh, weddings obviously too. I was thinking like a corporate event, but yeah, they're meant to not spew toxic fumes into the air, obviously by spec. So look how clean that is. Methanol is amazing. All right. Ooh, we're getting some heat. I mean, honestly, I didn't just turn on the coils and then put my hand above it, but I feel like just from working with this stove, this is more thermal output. So I was going to try boiling water because that's extremely important for, all of my dry goods. We got, obviously rice, noodles, all that stuff, but also just boiling water to boil water to sanitize it and to drink it. But that takes a lot of thermal energy, so I do believe it takes less thermals to cook an egg than it does to boil water. I'm pretty sure of that. So we are going to try that. Here we go. Ooh, not much of that is hitting the pan yet, but it's only been a little bit. So I'll just crack one and we'll see what happens. Oh, we've got some cooking going on already. That looks really good. Okay, let's scramble it up as I intended to do. And you can tell the levelness of this is a little bit of an issue. I will say you never want to preheat a pan regardless, because these are no stick. So I guess cast iron you would, depending upon the recipe you would, but generally you don't want to preheat non-stick stuff because it can get to a temperature and just like have like a thermal runaway out of control where it will start to convert the Teflon coating into a very hazardous gas. So I've done that a couple times and just had to like leave my house for a couple hours because I'm like, this smells like something toxic in the air, the pan turned brown, Yeah, not a good idea. Yeah, at least want to, if you can, throw some oil down on it. Obviously, I'm talking about cooking, not about a survival scenario where you're going to get cooking oil, but, you know, that stuff tends to go bad after maybe 2 years, so you might have some. Okay, so this seems to be working really well, actually. I'm not that surprised. I mean, it's right under it. The other thing is the distance. You don't want to lose too much to the air. Oh, and I should probably close it. There's a thought. There we go. That'll make sure all the heat goes this way. I didn't really feel a lot of heat coming out here, but you do want it all going to the pan. So the one thing I forgot to pick up was an infrared thermometer for this to see if it's getting to like a good healthy temperature, but I think eggs are like 140 or something. Like a lot of meats are like 165 in the middle that you want to get them to kill every conceivable parasite or bacteria, but I think with eggs it's a really low temperature. Basically, if they cook, then it's probably correct. You'd have to be hovering at such an odd temperature to do it, like 120 or something. Although these are cooking really slowly compared to just normal on the stovetop. But I'm getting a little bit of like steam off it. So if there's steam, the steam is 212. So that alone should indicate that, you know, there's something coming off. It could just be like evaporative. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, that feels really hot to me. I guess I could just do the next best thing. There we go. Got a meat thermometer here. Oh, 141. Yeah. So if I kept holding this here, it would probably level off in the 150, 160 range. I'm worried about water then getting to 212, but like I said, we'll try boiling water after this. Alright, so I guess I'm making a scrambled omelet because I didn't actually move this. Oh, wow. Still got a little bit of anti-stick on it. Nice. Boy, I'm used to doing more than one. This is so thin. I should make like a 4-egg omelet. Okay, so that's pretty light. There's no browning. I'm a little concerned about the thermal output of this. I wish it was a little bit higher. But like I said, if I'm using a lighter, thinner, lower density metal like aluminum in a smaller pan, this will work a lot better. But I'm still getting a little bit of sizzle off this, so this does seem decent. So we're currently at about 7 minutes total since I lit it and put the pan on, somewhere in that neighborhood. That seems long, but I mean, it's not insane. I'd get worried if it was like 20 minutes. Alright, we're probably just about done here. Let's see. See if we can get a little brown. Oh, that's nice. That's a good color. Just the faintest little bit of browning right there. So it's, I would say pretty much done. So let's do a quick taste test. Alright, well, while we're waiting, gonna take some very cold water, put it in this very small light pan, and see if it can boil. The other thing is, do notice that I'm not blocking the whole grate. This is not a self-oxidizing fuel, so it does need oxygen, but there is like a small vent right there. I mean, I don't think it'll really have problems. But if you were to basically block the whole top, I think there's enough air gaps, but then also you'll get 100% of the heat. So I can feel a little bit of heat coming past it, but I think the metal soaks it up pretty good. So I'm going to set a longer timer and see if this can boil up to the point where I can make rice in it in a reasonable amount of time. Oh, and the eggs are absolutely delicious. It's been 6 minutes and we're seeing some little micro bubbles. Honestly, that's probably about what the stove would do. So it's now been 15 combined minutes, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried because it almost looks like it's stalled out. Like it's like on the verge of boiling, but I've been watching it for 2 minutes and it hasn't really gotten closer to boiling. So I might have reached the peak thermal output. That lower amount of water might have been the max that it can do, but I guess we'll find out. Oh boy, 19 minutes in. I don't see a change, do you? I guess the bubbles got a little bit bigger. Boy, I don't know about this. This might make a really good water evaporator. Not a very good boiling device, but I will say it definitely would not have taken this long on the stove. So the total thermal output of the stove coils must be higher. Either that or it's, you know, the metal-on-metal contact transfers better to the pan than just over the air, because air is actually a really bad conductor of heat, believe it or not. I don't know, it looks like we might be on the verge of boiling. I mean, at a certain point, enough is going to evaporate that it's going to boil, but, boy. Let's get a temperature. If it's 190, I'll throw the rice in. Good news. It's an acceptable temperature to cook pork. Other good news, it's been 20 minutes. It just got real loud in here. Yeah, the water is between 170 and 175. That is nowhere near boiling. Okay, so the bottom of the pan was in the 180s. The temperature's in the low 170s, I believe it was. I don't know. It's not looking good. Well, let's throw the rice in, see what happens. There we go. We'll do a very, very small amount. So I know a lot of people are thinking that is way too much water for rice. That's usually just the way I cook it, just because, I mean, getting it dialed in perfectly with the low quality stove, low quality cookware, you know, sometimes you get it way too dry and then you have to add water and then have to wait for that to boil because you put too much in and it evaporated, and it's just a whole thing. So usually I just go over by about, I don't know, 20-30% what you would normally do, and then just drain it. And fortified rice, which is almost all white rice that you can buy in America, is coated in niacin. So if you boil it in water and then drain the water off, you lose all the niacin. But I mean, I get enough vitamin B in a day, but you would not want to do that in a survival environment because you really need vitamin B, aka niacin. So this is not how you would do it in a survival environment. Also, this isn't working. So for like, you know, $5 compared to the cost of a really good rocket stove, which is what you should be using, or rocket grill or whatever they're called, I don't know. I mean, if it was about $5, I mean, knowing that this would take this long, and you know, time is important in a very bad survival environment. But then again, this is so portable, so light. I don't know. I've seen people with just like the fold out. It's like the grill and then 2 legs, and then that's it. And you just put it over a small fire, and that's it. I would just get that then. I mean, why get one that's Sterno specific and has 2 little spikes in the bottom, you know? This is pretty stable, though, and these, to block the heat and send it all upward, are really, really nice. So, I'm not completely ruling it out, but I'm certainly not giving this a 10 out of 10. Just for curiosity's sake, let's see if my original theory is correct about it, just having a little bit too much water. Okay, this is pretty dirty from making popcorn, but there we go. I'm going to put a cover on it, too. That should trap the steam in, keep the air temperature higher, and stop as much from evaporating. So I think between the two, we might get some results. But there is allegedly 5 minutes left on the cook time. Alright, well, it looks like it has achieved a boil. So as much as I don't like changing 2 variables and then getting a result and wondering which of the 2 variables it was, I think it was both. Obviously, putting the lid on helps, and lowering the amount of water helped. So there's your very, very weak boil right there. So allegedly it's been 12 minutes. I mean, okay, it's definitely been 12 minutes. Allegedly it's been enough time to cook the rice. Is time real? Are we being lied to? Just kidding. Alright, here we go. Oh, come on. This is not the tool you use. Okay, there we go. That doesn't look cooked to me. Yeah, it's got a little crunch to it. That's about a minute or 2 more, I would say. Oh, and wow, taking the cover off kind of killed the boil. Okay, well, there you go. So I guess I'll wait 3 minutes. Alright, 3 more minutes. That's a darn good boil. Look at that, we're getting some good starchy bubbles. That's aggressive. Okay. Boy, I probably should have just put that on from the start. Alright, let's test it. Hey, got some first try. Yeah, that is done. It's a little tiny bit under, but it's at the point where if you want it perfect, you take it off right now. So I'm going to drain it and might as well eat it. No sense in telling you what it tastes like. It's plain rice. I'll probably put some soy sauce on it if you're interested. But that took, just short of 25 minutes. So, I mean, cover it, use a lighter pan, and also this doesn't work very well. So you can't just throw anything on here. You can't just cook anything. And by the way, I keep getting yellow flare-ups on there, which means that the ventilation isn't even that good, even with, you know, the edges. Boy, might as well take it off. So we're going to repeat it with the much, much more common wick-style ones, which I suspect do not have the same thermal output. Oh, by the way, these are really hard to put out with your breath. Watch this. By the way, don't seal it entirely. There's going to be gas buildup in there. I got this cracked a little bit. A little bit. Oh boy, do I? Oh, I did not. Okay, so don't do that. So, reusing my egg plate here, by the way, that is the amount of rice it made. Nice for a side. I suspect that's probably under 200 calories of rice. Just kind of ballparking it, because I know what, like 5,000 calories worth of rice looks like dry, And it's like a quart bag, so yikes. If you had to cook this 25 minutes at a time, you'd have to cook nonstop all day. So, and that's for one person. I don't like this invention. I don't think it's very good. All right, we've got a small amount of water, maybe a third of a pot full. We got the ethylene glycol, by the way, based wick one. It is not methanol gel. You can see it burns a little bit less clean, and it's one tiny little point. That one point is very, very, very hot, but I don't think this has the same thermal output. I just don't. So I'm going to check on this in about 8 minutes, see what happens, see if it's boiling. I don't think it will. Well, 8 minutes, and I feel like I could just about stick my hand in there. There's some bubbles. We'll see. Well, a little bit of steam. I don't know. Might get there. Okay, I got distracted by a little something there, but we've got a boil. Look at that. Okay, so the thermal output might not be that much lower. Or maybe it being very directed at the bottom of the pan instead of spread out is helping. I don't know. Whatever it is, the results are the results. Probably just the cover helping immensely, so let's throw some rice in. Alright, keep it covered, set it for 11 minutes. Alright, 11 minutes, bubbling away, looks good. I'll assume it is. Yeah, let's not assume. Here we go. I'm gonna eat it eventually, but let's not assume recording. Here we go. Oh, that's solid, yeah. That's a little light. I'd give it another minute, but whatever. Alright, so I think I figured this out. Look at the height of that flame. Now, I peeked under it. It was touching. Like, the flame was touching. The hottest part of the flame, by the way, was touching the bottom of the pan. That is absolute direct heat. This had at least a ½ inch to an inch of a gap. So it was transmitting via hot air. Hot flame burning, you know, whatever this is. I forgot, ethylene glycol or whatever. No, that's antifreeze. That's probably not what it is. Wait, no, it is ethylene glycol. Isn't that antifreeze? Okay, anyway. I bet the fuel is just straight ethanol. I don't know. Who knows? Could be some kind of oil. Who knows? But the distance made a huge, huge, huge factor. So I'm still extremely confident that these burn colder and have less of a thermal output than this style. But because of the height in the direct center, you know, flame under the pot, it did about as well, if not better. So, I mean, that's good to know. I think that the height on this was calculated to be like a normal Sterno, and every Sterno brand one I've ever seen is this exact size and shape and has a wick. So, I think this one, boy, if I would have propped it up, I would have gotten insane results off of it. If this was outside, I can probably say with some amount of confidence that if it was like 20 degrees out and I'm trying to cook on one of these outdoors, like in a forest or something, even with wind going, forget it. I mean, there's just no way that would work. And who carries a cover with a pan? I mean, so without that, it wouldn't even boil with any of these, really. I don't know. I'm going to say it's not worth buying unless you're real interested in it. I never did try cramming 2 in there, so what the hell? Let's try that last, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't really fit. You wouldn't be able to close it. There's no way to do that. Not really. I mean, they won't go side by side. You wouldn't want to do that. So, yeah, not quite. I don't know. If you found one that did too, I'd say get it. But the problem is, who's going to carry these around? They're dangerous. If they leak, you're now coated in, you know, flammable stuff. They're, you know, kind of heavy, like 7-8 ounces. They take up a lot of space. You still need something to light them. So, I mean, if you're like me and you bought, you know, 72 of these for home heating, because 3 of these is basically a 1200 watt heater, and go watch that video. I did do a video on these, but yeah, they did just fine. It had a carbon monoxide detector, everything. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but it worked. And yeah, it heated up my house like 10 degrees in the middle of winter, like shockingly quickly. So if you have them anyway, and you want to cook specifically indoors while also emergency heating in an emergency, you get 2 things done at once. Yeah, I'd pick it up, but for like camping, for travel, for emergency, for bug out bag, too big, too heavy, too clunky, too stupid. You might as well just use wood if it's available, and I wouldn't recommend it for that. But for home use, if you got it, I mean, this thing folds down to nothing, and you get, you know, 12 of these or something, you know, that's not much shelf space. So, I guess I'd kind of recommend it, but it's a little clunky and it's not the best thing ever, and it's virtually unusable outdoors because of wind and stuff. So hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you guys next video.